All right, welcome back. Hopefully this is going to be the last video, so this is going to be video number 3. Okay, we have a credit card summary, little row here, so we got to figure it out. All right, we're solving for X. Remember the way that this is set up, it's going to be the previous balance minus the payment credits plus equals this number, okay? So it's basically just a very long algebra problem. So the way I'm going to set it up is 636.1 and 1 cent, sorry, minus x plus 795.45 plus 15 plus 12.53 is equal to $1,389.90. All right, basic algebra is going to help us out here, and the answer ends up being 69.06. All right. Now, if the credit card has a credit limit of $9,000, remember this is how much money the credit card company will allow the person to borrow. So, if how much credit will be how much credit will be the credit card holder have left? So they already owe $1,389. So very simply, what I'm going to do is take the available credit, which is $9,000, subtracted by the new balance, and I'm going to get my answer. Now, what makes this question tricky is because for question 13, you want to take the previous answer, which is $69, and do something with it. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. I was trying to trick you there. Read the question. All right? Say it's $7,610. Jill's considering moving to a one-bedroom apartment. I think most of you guys are getting this now, but I'm going to go ahead and go over it anyway. All right, so how much does she have to pay? All right, so how much is she expected to pay? Well, she's got to pay the $50 for the application fee. She's got to pay the $225. She's got to pay the 1 month's rent for security deposit. That's $750. She's got to pay the last month's rent, which is another $750. And then she's got to pay the broker's fee, which is 2% of the yearly rent. Now, how do I do that? Very simply, and that is 2% is 0.02 times the monthly payment times 12. And so when you do that, that's going to give you $180. All right? So that's another $180 that the Jill's got to pay. Now, on top of that, you also got to remember the first month's rent. The first month's rent is an additional $750. So what I'm adding up is first month's rent, broker's fee, and all of this stuff that I already wrote down, which means she has got to pay to get into her apartment $2,505. Question number 15. Susie's financial advisor believes that she should spend no more than 22% of her gross monthly income for the housing. She has determined that that amount is $1,100. Based on this amount, her advisor's recommendation, what is her annual salary? All right, so let's kind of break this down a little bit. We know that 22% of her salary is $1,100. Okay, we already know that. But it's a two-step, or actually a three-step problem. But we need to figure out what is 100% of her salary. That's what we got to figure out. Okay, so we're going to create a proportion. So by creating a proportion, I'm just going to write it down here because I kind of ran out of room to write. I'm going to put $1,100 over 22% is equal to X over 100%. Okay, so when I do that, when I do a cross multiply, my answer is $5,000. So she gets she makes $5,000 a month. Okay. Now, before you start taking that as your answer, read the question. It says, how much is her annual salary? So you have to take the $5,000 and you have got to multiply it by 12. Remember, read the questions. That's what's going to get most of you guys on the test. So she is making, per year, Susie is making $60,000. Joe wants to rent a two-bedroom apartment for $760 a month. His gross income is $32,500. What percent of his income would be used to pay the rent? This is another one of those budget questions, but before you do the budget questions, you got to convert the yearly pay, which is $32,500. You got to divide that by 12. So when you divide that by 12, you get very quickly $2,708.33. So all I'm going to do is create a simple little division problem where I'm taking $760 and dividing it by that amount there. And my answer ends up being 28.1%. Now, if someone was to ask, is this within the range of rent? Remember, the range within rent is 25 to 30%, so the answer would be yes, if the question asked you that. All right. Tracy is 25 years old. She's planning on retiring when she is 60 years old. She opened up an IRA, and now, okay, we got a retirement issue, a retirement question. Now, she's 25 years old, okay? She wants to retire when she's 60 years old, so that means our time in this problem, our T, would be 35. Okay, our APR, our R would be 0.042. Now, I changed this to monthly, so if you're looking at your review, it says weekly, change to the monthly. She is making $250, so that means P is going to be 250. So I'm taking this information. Oh, one more thing, monthly, that means N would equal 12 in the formula. So taking all this information into your calculator, your answer is going to be $238,434.79. That's how much money she'll have by the time she is 60 years old. Chuck is a teacher for a local school system. All right, we have had this numerous times, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you the little formula here, and that is the average pay, or the average salary, and I'm going to times that by the percentage, and then I'm going to times that by the number of years, and that's going to give me my yearly retirement pay. The average salary times the percentage. Now, the only trick here is, remember, with the percentage, you got to write it as a decimal. Okay? The answer is going to be, he is getting paid $48,800.33. All right? Now, let's talk about Tommy. There's another insurance question here. All right? You have the 50-150. Remember, 50 is per person, 150 is total. All right? So here we go. A is 57 grand. Now I'm just going to write 50 here. That represents 50,000, which means Tommy pays 7. B is 13,000. That's well below the 50,000. Tommy pays nothing. C is 25,000. Now, hopefully at this point in time, you already know to start writing your totals over here. How much the insurance has paid up to this point, because remember, with multiple victims, that's 63. With multiple victims, most likely the insurance will top out. All right, 9,000, 0. So 9,000, 0, that would be 97,000, 27,000. Insurance is going to pay all that. 0. And the reason I know the insurance is going to pay all that is because the insurance tops out at 150 and we're only at 97,000. So I know that's good. Now, Tommy, Adam, and Dave were all riding in Tommy's car. So that means all this information is covered under PIP, which is 50,000. All right, so Tommy, PIP. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do this in blue just to show you that it's different. 16,000 for Tommy. I'm sorry, for, well, actually, it is Tommy. So he will pay nothing for himself. 17,000 for Adam. Tommy pays nothing. Now remember, multiple victims here, so go ahead and figure out. So insurance has paid 16 here. The insurance has paid, I believe that is going to be 33,000. But notice the PIP is 50,000. They've already paid out 33, so the 18,000 will put them over. So the insurance can only pay 17,000, which means Tommy pays 1,000. So here's my chart. So based off my chart, I'm now going to answer my questions. And I'll have to do that on the next video, which will be the 4th one. So stay tuned.